Vancouver Titans versus the Boston Uprising. That'll be the match we're covering today. But I gotta be bringing that false positivity, because when I see false on the top contenders North American rosters, American Tornado, you name it, he fits the shoe when he needs to. As in, he fills the role and he steps up, and the results don't lack when he's on the roster.
Also,
but now
his properties as a hit scan menace and looking to try and reassert themselves as a true domineer of the faction. The real difference of his competition solo element is going to be the Lucia from Marsa, and this needs to be used to help Vancouver Titans get on top of a much slower Crimzo, who's going to be relying a lot more on Punk to play a classic off-tank style that's heavy on peel rather than heavy on dive. Punk almost losing their mech though with a chase from False, and Vancouver Titans are going to be able to flip the point early here. Just allows for a quick remake, and that was Valentine who's been the recipient of a nano boost. The Spire can't take the pressure that the sticky bombs do provide, and now a duplicate is good to go for Valentine to cleanse himself if need be, but first port of call is going to be that duplication.
That's a good tack by so just to finish off the job. Remember, it was Boston all along that had the point at the start. Vancouver Titans zoned them off, got control, and managed to stagger things out to 50%. Now Boston at full force.
I love continuum of value there from Boston Uprising as well. They give the nano over to Valentine to beam down False, which they can't eat. That amplification, that amplified beam can't be broken, and that allows for a free use of attack visor afterwards.
Well, Valentine decides to duplicate the Ana, so maybe two, I would say, okay, one nano. Crimzo doesn't have his yet, but we're going to give that over to Punk, who's going to dive straight for a Spire, who has attack visor. All attention has to be demanded on him as Punk flies to Jupiter, tries to mech someone, he gets Psycho with it, and Boston only have Faith heals, which Faith is still coming back from spawn, so Boston is just a matter of time before this crumbles.
Striker in play for now, and forces out Marsa and that sound barrier.
Boston keeping control just by a few seconds, even without having any supports for the longest time. You see Crimzo and FaZe just trying to cross over to the point, but no one from Boston is helping them making that journey, so Vancouver finally get the flip, and at least only 30% gap in the score. Oh, both supports were dove, but Skyripper had the most critical sleep, and Crimzo falls, so a big resource advantage for the Titans. In the last fight, Faith under fire. Psycho wanted to finish, gets distracted as Faith heals himself up, probably with the support passive, as Punk tries to matrix everything he can. Psycho flies back to his supports. It's an all-out brawl on the point, a 2v2 even as the rally. The overhealth into effect for the Uprising, the resources they need to keep on kicking. And there the round ends for the Uprising, who stand tall over the Titans.
And there it's Faith, feet planted firmly on the ground, popping the rally, giving that additional health. Boston Uprising, they can run into you with a Zarya and a Reaper, and they might find themselves a 5 versus 4 while Aspire is elsewhere. Punk's here looking to get multiple slows as well, and remember the slows are given over by the Seismic Slam. That is going to allow for Striker to very easily close these gaps, but Psycho has closed up Striker's head for a second. That's a great opening pick to grab, and Boston Uprising, they're going to lose out on multiple fights here. I mean, because they already gave up the first capture in order to swap over to that Doomfist for the initial engagement.
Valentine applying pressure, gets help from a friend, and slices and dices 2 and 3. Boston took the time to swap the comp, and look how it's paying off. Look at the follow-up. As soon as Punk gets on his knees, Boston help out their buddy, and that's synergy I love to see. 94%, Boston taking a fight. You got the touch ready from Masa, but reinforcements ain't coming for a while, buddy. Good luck. Boston finishing what they started. They look close on Lighthouse, but the compositional swap from Boston, and especially Punk stepping up to the table and learning Doomfist. This is incredible what Boston are doing right now. They take map 1.
So as we roll out here, it's going to be Vancouver Titans currently languishing at 0 maps, 1 starting on the defense. Look at this, Psycho's in so deep. How has he managed this?
He gets shot at an off angle from Shockwave, so this is a really good spot for him. He can also just run away. There's a health pack behind him too somewhere if the healing pad isn't enough. But Vancouver Titans did a good job of attracting attention away from Shockwave so we can get those picks, and Boston couldn't figure that out in time. Both sound barriers dropped. Vancouver Titans also have the Ant Matrix as Boston funnel. It's only pain that they're going to feel, and now the door is closed, so Boston only have 2 chokes to go through, where the Titans have a brawl and a slam with their name on it. False sees the Genji. I think even the Doomfist go past him, so False approaches the backline, gets FCD on his knees, and that's an easy kill. And without that healing, I don't know, Boston, what you thinking about? Oh, Punk, Meteor Strike right on top of them as soon as the lamp goes out, and that's been critical of Punk choosing those engagements. As Shockwave lets it rip with the tack visor. Now going behind, he's going to sneak up on MCD, who's already delivered the nano, probably to Punk. You know, you have very limited heals if you're the Boston attack, and 30 seconds left. The card is in deep. If you're Boston, you have to win it now. And Faith is getting pummeled. You have no healing if you're this attack. And Punk, he's getting stalled out by an ice-blocking May of Psycho. But the kills are still coming in. Striker's doing enough. And Boston actually secure point B without support. Faith activates the sound barrier, and Boston got to figure out, are we going forward or are we peeling for these supports? Both on us traded out. It's dive, be dive. You're seeing it on the card. 10 seconds left, only 3 members. But Punk is stunned up, but defeats False with the help of his team. And Boston approaching the end of the finish line.
Scarippa puts out the nano. It's onto False, spaced out for just a second. The direct there with the sound barrier, and Masters in. He wants MCD. Supportal combat, as Doe would call it, goes the way of Vancouver.
Another if, but Masa says, I'm the leader of this team, and I'll show you how it's done. Overtime about to wisp away, and Boston unable to complete the match.
But Punk's gone too far, gets bounced there, booted out of the immortality field by Masa. Beautiful control from the supports, and it's Masa who just keeps on taking and taking and taking.
Vancouver got a much faster point cap than Boston did. So we'll see how this pans out, because Boston got really stuck at this initial choke. So that's where Vancouver can make up some time. We're going to give it over to False. He needs some more love. He goes right after Punk. Immortality field up from Fate. No one's shooting it from the Titans. Punk is living enough to get healed back up. So the nano from onto False didn't actually yield any kills. The pulse is thrown from Valentine. Misses the soldier he was going after, as Valentine's getting beat by a Lucio. What's with Masa, man?
Masa loves it. Masa is here to hunt tracers and win games.
Vancouver, the time is now. Masa hunting for prey. False, Primal Rages, dies in 2 seconds. Striker has the tack visor, and he's hunting down Psycho. So Vancouver, they got separated away from the flock there. That payload is approaching 4 meters away. Masa with the sound barrier. Now it's a big investment from the Titans. But if it yields a win, that's what's most important. Valentine starts going after Skyripper. Throws out the pulse. The lamp had it coming. He looked at me funny. But Titans, they stand tall thanks to Psycho finishing off all the kills. And point B will be capped. Nano delivered. False, paving the way. The red carpet made from blood. He goes after MCD. And Striker is next. Finish off by Shockwave. You're not even allowed to go home, buddy. The tickets are sold out. Vancouver Titans are just rolling right now.
As Boston Uprising are nowhere to be seen, and that is going to be a completion from Vancouver Titans.
Punk is very low, but Faith has Inspire up, MCD has the Orb on Punk too, so it's really tough for Boston to finish off these kills, and they're low themselves as Psycho goes and swipes left on both Valentine and Punk, and Vancouver will be capping B.
Punk on the flank here. No disengagements, no mercy, no survivors. However, Aztac fighting back for now. No one can touch the car, and I want to highlight the big boy Australian. The one from Boston Uprising who is kept on this team, Lemon. Punk had such a good understanding there. Vancouver Titans, they are waiting so hard for a pick from Aztac, Aspire, or Psycho that they're giving away so much of the map to wait for it.
Yeah, I mean, Titans pulled so far back that they... Oh my god! The Queen! Queen! Yes, Soleil, Victoria! Let's get it!
Yeah, Psycho made a deep dive, was well out of the range of the trance, and Valentine's got in deep to put an end to this one! My blade is much bigger than yours! The 1,000-folded steel won't bend under the pressure, and the Boston Uprising will rise to 2-1 once more. Punk is once again showing off the Doomfist, and I would love it if this is real, because like I said at the beginning, the best tanks I think here are the Winston and the Doomfist, especially because the Seismic Slam area of effect is just about perfect with the robot's initial lane.
Shockwave's running away, and that's what he needs to do, is stay undetected and pinch at the moment that Titans are ready. As the engage starts from Boston on a good sleep from Crimzo, and that's a first pick from Psycho as False continues to apply pressure to Punk, especially because he's low. Usually False wants to go after the backline, but Punk got all of that love and not the kind he wanted. Great finish from Psycho.
Psycho identified here. Venano given on over to Punk. Look at him glow like a Christmas tree, man. Welcome to the microwave, Scarippa.
Now you have the flank again from Shockwave. He's going to try and run away. Valentine applies the pressure while Psycho brings out the blade, but it's countered by the Sound Barrier of Faith, so there's not really much Psycho can do, and hopefully dodge this L that Striker wants to deliver to him.
That Nano was to try and purchase a little bit of bot push now because it's so close between these two, Lemon. That's a huge grab, and do you spin into it is the question.
Boston have a lead by only 0.8 meters, but Titans should be able to make that up. Titans seem to be winning right now, and winning even more. That they got attack visor, all the supports, but wow, that's a swipe on the Shockwave. Well, Punk ain't here, so no anime to be had. Oh, Crimso? Did that Nano even get delivered? I don't know, because I'm looking at Valentine this whole time.
If this moves forward, then it's going to be all Vancouver Titans. Yes, this map is almost in their hands. All they need to do is get Boston Uprising off of the cart, and Valentine's going to have to reach it with the blade first. Is anyone even touching? Yes, it's Punk who makes it there with a sound barrier as well, Lemon.
Oh, Blade v Blade. There's the anime tournament arc you've always wanted to see, but it's Boston coming out on top. Boston building up that energy, but it's Shock that unleashes attack visor, and he finds Faith on the wall. Pump goes down, but before the grab comes out, and Titans wipe away Boston and have forced a game 5. And this is going to be a good final match. Winston versus Doomfist, and not who you expected it to play.
Strikers in with the sound barrier, counter given by Marsa as the main supports clash, and McCall joins the fray.
Oh, double support ultimates, but this is the fight you need to win if you're the Titans. And Valentine shoved off of the point as Titans regain control. And Boston, they're heading for the hills. They know they only have one last fight remaining if they reset quickly, but Marvel conserves his life, and that's good. Boston have now invested a ton of ults, but still need to make the space back on the point. Marvel jumps in, and now the attention is on him, including a pulse bomb. Aspire gets the finish. 99-99, 6 versus 4. The Titans cannot be stopped, but they got to deal with Valentine. He's deadly at close range, and False gets the finish. Boston head for the hills, and the Titans are about to take round 1.
Vancouver Titans, what a turnaround.
That was a 0 to 100 comeback from the Titans, so believers, stay strong. I like this high ground control already from Striker and friends. False likes to separate the supports away, and he's applying a lot of pressure. He got slept by Crimso, but False is still kicking as Striker delivers the finishing blow to Masa. Striker is dodging Psycho.
How does he get away?
And look at the stone cold face of Psycho. I would be mauling right now.
Any damage taken now, Lemon, is absolutely permanent, but Psycho is putting out good amounts of damage themselves. Valentine, the alpha cyborg ninja in this case. My sensei is much bigger than yours, and Marvel's fist is bigger than anything that Vancouver Titans can bring to bear here. Sure, the supports have arrived, but a well-placed slow from Marvel will allow for the flip over in a short number of moments.
As Valentine climbs over, no ults for Boston, as Vancouver just want to live. Psycho flies above, hoping to get to the back line. Skyrim is trying his best to keep everyone healed up through the engage of Marvel and Striker, and they've lost Valentine through the process. Skyripper hoping to make sure he can use it without Marvel punching him out. There's Marvel missing that, and the coalescence to hose him down. Vancouver somehow still alive.
The veteran presence and the big hitter are gone. False has turned up. They did have a charged up fist, but they don't have any health to use it with Lemon.
That is the end of that round, 100 to 82. Boston dodged the choke, but we're going into round 3 of game 5. It is literally do or die. Valentine's following in succession, and Vancouver Titans might lose False if they're not careful. Skyripper through the fade and through the smoke, and Valentine is dead too. A 4v4, but a lot of heals missing from the Titans. But you see that False is buying so much time with the Primal Rage that Aspire gets to finish off everything. So Titans, one more fight, and they take this game 5. Psycho has the blade, he lets it rip, goes after the Reaper, but really his attention has been divided through multiple people. Doesn't get a single finish, and there's a... No, do we say it? A C9? Do we say it?
A V9? A V9?
Oh, that's gonna hurt in the morning. Boston Uprising, take your game 5.